Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. I'm the FPL D Unit, and today you are here for my final thoughts and my two team selections. Alright, so look, I am on wildcard still in game week 12, and I'm still unsure in terms of which squad I'm going to go with, which draft I'm going to go with. I've narrowed it down now, I think, to two potential drafts. I'm open to negotiation, but I'm going over both of them. The more and more I'm thinking about it, the more and more I'm leaning towards a Haaland draft. So I will be covering both of that. And look, these are my final thoughts ahead of the game week. If you want to join, please write all your questions below this video, and I will try and get to them all in the deadline day stream on Saturday. Please join me for that. I'll be on at 9:30 UK time, and we're going right through to the deadline where I will lock in my wildcard draft and then hope for the best that I've got my analysis correct of what I think is likely to happen moving forward. All right, so without further ado, let's get into my final thoughts first and foremost. So, my first wildcard is obviously active in game week 12, and as I've just alluded to, I've got no clues which draft I'm going to go with. I'm definitely leaning more towards a Haaland draft. I've looked at like the person that's leading fantasy and other people that are in my league, and I do have very good team value, which is why I think that the Haaland draft is probably the correct call. Now, I still am relying on him dropping in price, which, as of this video, I've recorded it a day before Friday, so this will be released before I'm aware of his price change. If he drops in price, it's going to 100% make this team work, and he's 100% on course to do that. The last time I checked, he's almost 100% certain he will be at 15.1 by the time this video goes live. So look, I am leaning towards that draft, and we'll get into the two team selections in a moment. But we'll cover a few other different things. So Manchester United, as I've talked about, are back, and I do believe that Ruben Amorim will continue to oversee a good run of form moving forward, and Bruno Fernandes is back. Now, Let's Talk FPL has been waffling on about Bruno Fernandes and holding him in long-term hold and all the rest of it, but he is a player that is back in form, 27 points in the last 2 weeks. He's probably not going to get you at 27 points over the next two, but I do expect him to return in both of the next 2 game weeks, and I believe he will be a continuously pivotal player for Ruben Amorim moving forward in one of the 10 positions in the team. So look, I expect him and other players to emerge. Now, I am back on Ahmad. Ahmad is in the Haaland draft. I can tell you that much. And I believe that he will be picked, and I think that he will become a banker. I'm hoping he will, because that makes the Haaland draft look a hell of a lot better if he is. If he's not, then I've already got a problem with it. So, selling Spurs assets. Tick, green tick. If it's Dominic Solanke, massive green tick. If you show him the bin on the way out of your team, please do that for me like I did. After that performance against Ipswich, all Spurs assets, as far as I'm concerned, should not exist in anyone's teams. They can't defend, so you should definitely not have any of their defenders because they're not going to get you any clean sheets. Pedro Porro, I got rid of it a long time ago. And again, as I said, Tottenham can't defend, so it's really hard to suggest you should have any of them. Brennan Johnson, yeah, I know they've got the Man City game and potential. I expect them to score at Man City. I just don't know if you can bank. You can't go near Tottenham. They're too up and down, and I think we've seen enough. If you want to continue going there and getting tortured like their fans on a regular basis, then by all means, go ahead and do so. But for me, they're done. I've seen enough. If you're doing that at home to Ipswich, who concede the most XG in any team in the league, then you might as well just put your season and your team in the bin as far as I'm concerned. As you can tell, I'm still very salty about that Dominic Solanke captain choice last game week. I'm hoping to correct that this week, and we'll get into the captaincy choice in a little bit. So, the Haaland question. I've got the team value to bring him in instead of like Saka. So, it's either I go a 5 premium midfield, which is like Fernandes, Burmo, even though I haven't actually got this on the draft, I'm going to show you. Fernandes and Burmo, Saka, Palmer, and Salah. I could afford it all with 3 budget forwards and a couple and 2 semi-premium defenders. It all just comes down to whether you value defence this season. Now, we haven't seen many clean sheets, but Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool they've got pretty good underlying data in terms of their defensive capabilities, and they are about to go on good runs. And that makes you think that they're probably likely to start getting clean sheets. Now, if they start getting clean sheets, the defenders are going to be a whole different conversation. But at the moment, you would argue that not many teams are keeping clean sheets and you're not getting many points. I mean, it seems to be pure luck if you get points in your defense this season. But that's what it's felt like anyway. And I think there is an argument for just going all 4.5 million rated defenders or something similar to that. I don't know. As I said, my thoughts on the defense, I've changed. As you'll see, the two drafts here, I'm still unsold on which one is best, which is why I'm going to show you both. But I'll talk you through both team selections if I go with either of these drafts. The last thing you need to be aware of is obviously Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton. They have all started their amazing fixture runs. So you need to keep that in mind, because if you're on wildcard like I am, it's a great time to bring their assets in. It's actually really interesting. In the Haaland draft, I actually haven't got an Arsenal player at all. So I'm not sure if that's just a sign I'm not sold by the Arsenal assets. But look, we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose, if that pays off or it doesn't pay off. I have obviously taken advantage of the Brighton ones, and Cole Palmer's the only one that still remains in my Chelsea. In fact, both these squads, he's the only Chelsea player I've got. So keep that in mind. I still think Cole Palmer's really the only asset you really want from Chelsea. So without further ado, let's get into the actual team selection part of this video. And I'll talk you through the players that I like and whatever. We are going to start with the non-Haaland draft. So let's see what everyone thinks. So if I don't go with Haaland, this is what we're looking at. So I've got David Raya will be starting in goal. I'll then have a double Arsenal, double Liverpool defence. So Gabriel will be starting, Virgil van Dijk and Canade will be starting away at Southampton. And you would think that that's 24 points right there with this draft. Now that means that Lewis Hall and Ait Nouri are both sitting on the bench. Again, Lewis Hall has a really good fixture at home to West Ham, which I'm kind of a little bit like, well, maybe do you play him? But do you play him instead of Canade? I'm not sure. And then or do you play him instead of Gabriel? It's one of them weird ones, this draft, where you're sitting there and like a good player's always going to be missing out that has potentially good fixtures. So I'm not sure. They obviously line up in a 3-4-3, this formation here. So it'll be Brian and Mbeumo away at Everton, Cole Palmer away at Leicester, Mo Salah away at Southampton, and Bruno Fernandes away at Ipswich. Now, I believe my captaincy choice on this particular draft, I've obviously got Salah and Palmer in both these drafts. So in this draft, it's a toss-up between Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. I mean, Bruno Fernandes would be a way out there choice, and he is in great form, so you don't discount him. I just think that, in my mind, I'm going with Mo Salah. Mo Salah in the last 3-4 weeks has just been dominant. And if he scores one goal, which you would expect he would score one goal against Southampton, he's in line for bonus points, which means he's almost automatically getting you 9 points guaranteed, potentially 10, straight off the bat. And you don't have to worry about it. 10 points, double. How much is another captain actually going to outscore that? So I think Mo Salah is the safe option. If you really think Cole Palmer can go ham, I think that he's the other credible option for this particular game week, and I don't mind that as well. And obviously up front, I have Cunha away at Fulham, Isaac at home to West Ham, who you'd expect him to score goals, and then obviously João Pedro away at Bournemouth will be starting. I'll be starting João Pedro instead of Semenyo. I think that's the right call. Even though I think that Semenyo can probably score goals against Brighton, I just like João Pedro. He's back in the team, and we'll have to wait for the press managers conference, but I just really like him, and I think that he'll be fantastic. Now, on to the second one. So if I go with the Haaland draft, as you can see, the team is significantly different. Like the whole defense is significantly different, and it becomes a much harder team selection. So Verbruggen starts in goal away at Bournemouth, which obviously is a lot weaker than David Raya at home to Nottingham Forest, you would think. However, Verbruggen has been getting a lot of save points this year, and I don't mind him in goal. Then it's a real toss-up in the defence. So Lewis Hall 100% starts against West Ham at home. I think potentially I'd go Ait Nouri here. I think that Wolves will score against Fulham. I think Fulham could also score against Wolves. But if I'm backing in Cunha to score, I'm hoping that Aït-Nouri is also getting involved. And I just think that, he's probably the defender I'd go with there. And then then it's Van Heck versus Kirkes. And I think I'm probably playing Kirkes against Brighton at home, because I think potentially he could be involved in some attacking returns. Van Heck has got no chance of attacking returns, and I think that potentially that game does not equal a clean sheet for Brighton or for Bournemouth. So that's my line of thinking there. Again, as you can see there, 24 points in the other expected draft. This one, the only one I'm realistically expecting to keep a clean sheet is Lewis Hall. And then if the rest don't get any attacking returns, that's only 12 points compared to 24 in the other draft. So I'm taking that into consideration, and then we'll have a look at the rest of the team. So again, in the midfield, it's Bruno Fernandes, Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, Bryan Mbeumo. And then obviously the big difference is Erling Haaland instead of Isaac. So Haaland instead of Isaac. I'm basically relying on Haaland to outscore Isaac by 12 points. So again, I don't actually think this draft actually beats the other one this game week. But longer term, does it match it? I mean, if Arsenal and Liverpool concede a goal, there's every reason to think that this draft will actually outscore the other one, because of the fact that I'd have the double up defenses in both of them. So look, my final thoughts obviously are, how much do you value the defenders? How many points are they going to get? Is it better to spend your money on the defense and have less money in your forward line, and obviously go Haaland? Like, you can spread your money around a lot better. The only thing I've got is that Haaland's got Tottenham at home, and he is also a very credible captaincy choice, considering that Mickey van der Ven is going to be missing, and so is Christian Romero most likely, which makes me think, and Kevin De Bruyne is going to be back, and you would think that that is going to equal more chances for Erling Haaland. And can he go absolutely ham? Could he get a hat-trick against Tottenham? Who knows? I mean, Pep Guardiola's confirmed he's going to be staying on. That's uncertain. He's going to be disappearing for the Manchester City team. So there's going to be that distraction's going to be seen. See you later. I just think that he could be in for a big, big week. And look, moving forward, I just really like the options that Haaland provides. But not next week against Liverpool. Next week, I could be in for a really rough week. Like, other than Cole Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, and Mbeumo, like, Haaland plays Salah, and they could blank. They could both quite easily blank. So that's something to keep in mind. But then again, obviously, I could play Ahmad over João Pedro in this game if I think he's going to start. Yeah. Look, so that's how I would line up 3-4-3 in both of these ones. Except Haaland's obviously starting instead of Isaac, and obviously the defense is significantly different in this draft compared to the other one. It'd be Raya, Gabriel, Kanade, and Van Dijk versus Verbruggen, Kirkes, Hall, and Aït-Nouri this game week. So look, there's not a hell of a lot in it. Again, I'm probably going Mo Salah captain, because of the fact that, he's a safe option. He gets one goal. He's getting those bonus points. I really like him as a candidacy option moving forward. So look, those are my final thoughts ahead of game week 12. As I said, I'm not sure which option I've locked in my wildcard, and you'll have to join me in the deadline stream to find out. So there's every reason to do that. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I will try and answer them all with Alan, who will be joining me tomorrow for the deadline day stream. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button as well. And if you are new, please press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. That's been the D Unit.